Hey you guys, it's Britt. Today I'm coming to you with a new video. This is actually a collab. I'm super excited to be collabing again with Amanda. Her channel will be linked down below. Her video will be linked down below. She came up with this idea and I think that it's a really good one. We are both going to be reacting to a Katie Joy Get Ready With Me, interjecting our own commentary and doing a Katie Joy versus, my routine, showing you guys the difference and also just sharing my opinions. Did anyone ask for this? No, but I'm going to share my opinions anyway. This video is very, very telling, especially coming off of the video where she basically ripped down Jill Rodriguez. The things in this Get Ready With Me that she put up, I have a lot to say, so let's get started. So Amanda had this idea to do this video, and I am going to watch one of Katie Joy's Get Ready With Me. I'm going to do half of my face using her techniques, half of my face using my normal techniques. We're going to see the difference, how things look. I will add commentary throughout. Hopefully this will be helpful for some of you guys. I know some of you have been wanting to see more makeup tutorials, and so here you go. This is a great way for me to once again combine commentary with a tutorial. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Amanda, please go check her channel out. She's absolutely amazing. I talked to her a ton offline as well, and she's just making really awesome content. Small creators, both of us, but I think that there's huge potential. She talks about much more meaningful topics than I do sometimes because she's qualified to do so. So go check her channel out. I will link her video down below. Fair warning, I've already watched part of this video because I wanted to see what products Katie was using so I could pull similar products from my collection. I just want to say, keep in mind when we're watching this video, remember how much she knew about makeup when she was critiquing Jill Rodriguez in that other video. Remember the way she acted in that video versus what you see in this video. Since I've already seen this video, I could be very much a mean girl, but I'm not going to because that's not who I am. However, I will deliver criticisms and my opinions as needed, but I will do it in a tasteful way because that's just how I roll on my channel. But it's very interesting to see this video because in that other video, you would swear that she was just like this makeup guru. And then you watch this video and I have a lot of opinions that I will sprinkle throughout this video. So let's get started. I have all my products here. Now, I did not buy the exact same products that she uses because frankly, I don't care to spend my money on this makeup because I don't like it. I don't have any care to waste money. So I pulled similar products. I'm more so focusing on the techniques, and yeah, so let's get started.
So the first thing that I'm going to start with now, some people, Jessie Bear will always say like she does her eye makeup first, but I'm really bad at that. I don't do eye makeup first. I do my foundation first always. And this is my foundation. I use Makeup Forever HD. Okay. And then the shade I use is R260. They have a really large shade range. And I honestly ended up here with this one because the color matched, and it's a medium foundation. So it's not a full coverage. If you need a full coverage, this would not be a full coverage. It's more than a tint, but it's less than like a full coverage. So
okay, so the Makeup Forever foundation that she is using, I have used in the past. I didn't really care for it. I felt like it was somewhat drying and it was more matte than what I like to use in my daily makeup routine. The one thing that she did not say is what kind of skin prep she did. So I don't know if she has moisturizer on, a facial oil. So I will tell you guys what I did to prep my skin today. I cleansed with my Clarisonic, and I used my Trilogy rosehip seed oil paired with the Vichy Mineral 89. That is like a water serum. So I put the water serum on, I put the Vichy on my damp skin and then sealed it in with my rosehip seed oil. I have my CeraVe eye repair cream under my eyes, and I also have a Treat Beauty lip balm on. So let's see what she's going to do with this foundation.
I can still see some of the skin that's underneath this. It's called Makeup Forever. And then I always use, this is a brush by Sephora. It's their Pro Flawless Airbrush. It's number 56.
Okay, so she takes it, and I'm using the EX1 Invisiwear foundation. This is a medium coverage, more dewy finish foundation, and she just uses it with a sort of a fluffy brush. I have this one from Real Techniques. So she just basically spreads it. I have a piece of something on her face.
I don't have, like, some people prefer the full coverage, especially if they have like problem areas on their skin, because they want more even coverage. My skin tone is pretty even across the board. And I did not have a lot of acne growing up as a child. So I don't have any, like, I don't have a lot of scarring on my cheeks.
So in this part of the video, I noticed she's almost like low-key shading people who have acne scars, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just looking at this in a different light. But she says how even toned her skin is. She didn't have acne growing up, so she doesn't have any acne scars. Just because you had acne growing up does not equate to acne scarring. Not every skin type scars. I actually scar clearly. Hello. But just because you had acne doesn't mean that you have scarring. So good for her that she didn't have acne growing up and she's happy with her skin tone. But I will say, just because you have acne scars also does not equate to wanting a full coverage foundation. Hello, Exhibit A right here. I have acne scars, I have uneven skin tone, and I, in fact, like a very light, dewy foundation. I do not like coverage, because if I were to put a true medium to full coverage foundation on, to me, it would just come off as looking very fake and phony. And I don't care that I have some scarring. Like, I'm okay with that. That was part of my journey. And luckily, I've gotten my acne pretty much under control, but I do still break out from time to time. And since I was 20 years old, I kind of started breaking out later in life. I have always gotten scars, especially with those cystic acne spots that can come up. My skin just scars very easily. So it is what it is. I try to keep up with my skincare and help with the brightening and all of that good stuff. But yeah, her delivery, I don't know, maybe it's just her tone and the way that she speaks to her audience. To me, it comes off as condescending.
I am using the Sephora's. So all of my brushes are Sephora. I really like them.
So she says all of her brushes are Sephora, but later in this video, all of her brushes are not Sephora. She has a couple, but she has one that she doesn't know the name of. She has one that's from EcoTools, and I'm all about affordable brushes, but all of her brushes are not Sephora, and the Sephora brushes are okay. I have one. This is actually a Sephora brush. I'm not super impressed with their brushes. That's just my experience personally. But all of your brushes are not Sephora.
These are the ones that I use for my applying. This is for my powder, this is for my bronzer, and this is for my foundation. Yeah, I did get lucky with skin, I will say that. So, yeah. I can't remember. One of my someone in my family had cystic acne, so I definitely know like how the scarring can happen, and I know that like sometimes fuller coverage I think is better for that. And if you have, I mean, there are full coverage ones. I don't know who makes a good full coverage. Jessie Bear is a cosmetologist.
She is like all over this Jessie Bear girl. She is, I don't know, it's very interesting the way that she speaks about this girl, Jessie Bear. So I will say, if you have acne scars, that does not mean that you need a full coverage foundation. If you have acne scars that just scar as spots, like me, you can use a full coverage foundation and cover those spots. However, a lot of people have acne scars that are actually pitted scars. They're called, they can be called like ice pick scars. And if you have an indentation in the skin, a full coverage foundation is not going to do anything for you. So if you are dealing with actual uneven texture, then you should be using a line filling, blurring kind of primer, and then going over it with your foundation. Slapping a full coverage foundation over that is not going to do anything to actually fill the volume that is missing in your skin because of that scar. Oh, and I have to say, my experience with using this little kabuki brush with the foundation, I cannot stand. I am a beauty blender girl all the way. I love my beauty blender. I have it right over here for the second side of my face. I know some people like using brushes like this. It's just not my cup of tea. I think that the foundation can sit on top of your skin instead of actually being pressed into your skin how the beauty blender does. So I know that's all personal preference, but just putting it out there, beauty blender I think creates a much more natural finish to the foundation.
And she is one of my moderators. If you have questions about different products that might be full coverage, she can probably give you some help and advice on that. Actually, Jessie Bear has been pretty helpful for me finding products and suggesting products for me.
So I just want to say the fact that I think Katie thinks that a cosmetologist is a makeup artist, and those are two completely different things. Let's read about what a cosmetologist does. They do hairstyling, barbering, aesthetics like facials, exfoliation, and they learn how to do nails. Learning the makeup side of things is not typically standard. I know that things vary state to state, but learning how to do makeup does not automatically fall into becoming a cosmetologist, and I think that she doesn't realize that and hasn't cared to look into it. She just thinks that a cosmetologist does like everything.
Hi, Real Talk Recovery. Hi, honey. How are you guys?
I have to say, I know that this is a live stream and I shouldn't be this hard on her, but if you're doing a get ready with me on live, there were several times in this video I had to chop it and edit it so many different times because she gets so honed into the live chat and she's not even talking to people. She will just stare at the live chat and you can see her clicking around and probably blocking people, in my personal opinion. So if you're actually showing this video to people who have asked to see your makeup look or whatever tutorial, try to, I don't know, I feel like this could have been done a little different. There are so many moments of dead air where she's just like looking at the chat and doing, you know, what she does.
I've had some, oh, thank you for coming. Mandy Leeser, thank you for becoming a fan. I've had some cheaper brushes, but I would agree with Jay. Some of the brushes that I did buy, I bought some eco ones at Target, And I had them for like a month, and the bristles of the hairs already started falling apart.
So she says how the cheap makeup brushes, the bristles are falling apart and all of this kind of stuff. And I will say not all cheap brushes are created equally. However, taking care of your brushes is huge. You cannot just buy a $5 makeup brush and then expect it to, you know, last for forever if you're not actually taking care of it. The way that you're storing your brushes, how often you're cleaning your brushes, and also how heavy-handed are you? How are you utilizing them? All of those go into factor how long a brush is going to last for you. So that is something to keep in mind. I am one who believes in spending more on makeup brushes. I would rather have a $5 mascara but be able to spend $40 to $50 on my bronzer brush instead of, you know, having a $30 bronzer brush and a $30 mascara. That's just the way that I shop personally. But I do believe that makeup brushes are worth the investment because it's something that is not going to, you know, age out or become stale. So I think that they're worth the money.
These brushes I've had for months and they are still in really good shape, and I try to clean them. And then I saw a bunch of you guys asking, and so I know some people will say that like a lot of this makeup is not made for mature skin, but like I said, the makeup that I'm using isn't full coverage. So in the daylight, if you're wondering if it looks like it's caked on with me, it really doesn't. You don't notice how the makeup so much, at least with the foundation and the concealer. And that's why I really like the R220, or the HD.
This Makeup Forever foundation that she used, based on my personal experience, I didn't think that it was a super natural looking foundation, but that was just my experience personally. The concealer that she's about to use is not one that I would recommend for anyone with even remotely mature skin. Let's let her finish, but I'll give my opinions in a second.
And then I don't sleep enough because of my son. He has insomnia. And so I definitely get some bags under my eyes. And so I just use NARS concealer to kind of highlight. And I use a shade lighter than my skin to brighten that area. So that's what they suggested I use when I went to Sephora. And when I go and buy stuff, I always just get help from the people at the store and ask them what they want.
The NARS concealer that she's using is the Radiant Creamy Concealer. She doesn't even say the shade name. Katie, I thought you were supposed to say the shade name. Didn't you jump on Jill for not giving the shade name? Anyway, so that is not a natural concealer. It's actually very drying under the eyes. Based on my personal experience, I think that it looks hideous. And she really goes in with a ton of concealer. On the side of my face that I do using my techniques, you guys will see how I use my concealer. I don't have one that's similar to that, so I'm just going to use the Glossier Stretch Concealer. But I will take a fair amount, since that's what she did. And she kind of spreads it like right here. And I think she uses a brush to blend it out.
And then I do have some scarring on my chin, so that's why I put it down here. If you end up looking like a clown, says Cynthia.
Okay, so she's using the brush to blend it out. You know, I don't like using a brush to blend out my concealer because I don't feel like it's the same thing with the foundation. It just does not feel like it becomes one with my skin. And then she kind of takes it under her nose and a little on her chin. That is actually a lot of concealer, and I could only imagine if I was using something like the NARS, it would be a lot. But the Glossier Stretch Concealer is very forgiving, and it looks better than what it would if it was something like the NARS. Oh, she also took it on her eyelid instead of using a shadow primer. So let's do that.
And then I tend to get a little bit more, I have some problem areas under here, and then I also have some problem areas on my nose. Like I have some spotting on my nose just from, I don't even know what, that are just discolored. So I use the concealer there as well, and then I use it under my eyes. And I think if you look at my photo that I posted with this thumbnail, you'll tell that like in real life, my skin doesn't look like it has a ton of makeup on it.
In my opinion, she looks like she has a ton of makeup on. I don't know if it's just her camera quality being a little bit lower or the lighting or what it is, but to me, her face looks like it has a full coverage foundation on. Just saying.
And then I love loose powders. I'm not super into like the pressed powders or the tinted powders. And I like to use a translucent so I don't get really like, when I'm on my phone, for instance, I don't like it rubbing off on there. And I found that the best way to not have transfer from my makeup to like items is by using a powder that's translucent. So I just use NARS.
Okay, using a translucent powder versus a tinted powder, a pressed powder versus a loose powder has nothing to do with whether or not the powder is going to transfer onto your phone or not. I don't know where she heard that, but using a powder is going to set the liquid products and keep them from transferring. It has nothing to do with does the powder have color or is it pressed or whatever. Setting your makeup is a great idea. I'm not a huge fan of powders because I think that it can age the skin, so I only powder where I absolutely need to, which is a little bit under my eyes and sometimes on my forehead. But let's see what she does here.
And initially it'll kind of make your face look white, but it blends in eventually. And then it just dries everything out.
Holy cow, that was a lot of powder. I am not going to go overboard because this is like kind of what my nightmares are made out of, using that much powder. But I'm going to use the Juno Blur. This is a translucent setting powder. So I will take some of it with my Wayne Goss number 11 brush. I already feel like this makeup has just like completely dried out my skin already.
I know some people are into blush, but I am definitely not into blush.
Who doesn't like blush? I'm just gonna throw this out there. Blush is everything to me. I use blush every single day, and I know that's my personal opinion and personal preferences and all that kind of stuff, but I have found that blush can, even on the mornings that I feel my most tired, my most exhausted, something about applying a little bit of blush just like completely wakes up my skin. It finishes the makeup look. So I'll show you guys on the side that I will do. And I think you'll be able to see the vast difference in just what a blush can do.
So I use bronzer, which I put underneath my cheekbone. I brush it along my nose just to get sort of a sun-kissed look. I put it around the top of my forehead. And then I do a little bit along my chin. And that's my base.
Okay, I have no clue what bronzer she used. She sort of takes like a medium-sized brush, so I will just use this one. This is the Refer number 24, and I'll use the Bahama Mama. So she says she puts it on her forehead like this, and then What did she do? She kind of like sweeps it like right here. Moving on.
It's pretty easy. Not a lot of makeup. I don't do heavy contouring. I'm not into that kind of stuff. I want to look as natural as possible without looking caked on.
Okay, she wants to look as natural as possible without it being caked on. In my personal opinion, this look is very dry, very matte, very there's just not a whole lot of life to her skin because the products have mattified the skin. She's used a minimal amount of bronzer. She has no highlighter on, no blush on. There's just nothing to bring it all back to life. And the bare minimum that she could have done here is use a face mist. This is the MAC softening lotion spray. You can use any of those face mists, at least to knock down some of that powdery look. Y'all saw how much powder she put on her face, good Lord. So to me, I don't feel like this is a complexion routine that is doing anything for me right now. Let's get on with the eyeshadow.
All right.
Oh my God, lady, come on.
There's a lot of myths about organic products too they have on here. There's a lot of misinformation in the cosmetic world. So for my brows, I use Brow Wiz.
Okay, so she's using a brow pencil. I don't have Brow Wiz, but the closest thing that I have is the Brow Stylus Definer from L'Oreal. This is actually a really nice brow pencil. I don't fill in my brows at 90% of the time, as you guys probably know. But the shade that I use is Brunette. And I noticed that she's pulling on her brow like this. You should let your brow just rest. Rest where it is, because if you are filling it in like this, then when you let the skin rest, it's not going to look the way it did when it was being pulled out. So she does this whole thing, you know, you guys will see that in a second, but she essentially fills in the brows.
So typically with my brows, I just sort of start on the outside and I kind of just like fill them in. And I try to keep them as natural as possible. Obviously, you can tell that I have thinner eyebrows and they're lighter. So I use a darker brown to fill them in. And my hairstylist always says to me, your brows are sisters, not twins. So if they're not perfect, I don't really try to spend too much time on it.
Okay, so there is a brow filled. I have to say, the brow color that she's using in this video, her hair is platinum white blonde. The brow pencil that she's using is far too dark, in my opinion. She's using a brow pencil that's like this color, and y'all see how dark my brows are. She should be using something that is not quite as deep as whatever shade she's using here. I just think that it comes off as looking very unnatural because the contrast between her hair color and her eyebrow color is literally like white versus black.
And then I try not to make them too chunky because I don't really like the super chunky brow look. If you do, that's totally fine. And when I'm doing them, I try to just go like this and make sure that I don't do anything beyond this point, because some people will put their brows in this far. And the natural, I try to go to the natural end of my line. So I just use a straight line from my nose up. They taught me that at Sephora.
Nobody's doing their brows over here, Katie. Like, let's be real.
So I would, the ponytail challenge, Brooke says, oh wait, like makes it so I can't smudge this off, and it also keeps any hairs that are sticking up to fall down.
Okay, so her brows are, in my opinion, way overdone. And I know brows are sisters, not twins, but they both look completely different than one another. And I think that what's making that really stick out is the fact that she is using such a dark color. If she was using something that was closer to, you know, like a medium tone brown or a dark blonde, it would be more forgiving and it wouldn't be so obvious that they are completely different.
Hey, Michelle, or welcome back, welcome to chat.
And this Benefit brow product that she's using here is actually, it's almost like a shellac for your brows. The brow product that I use from e.l.f. is just a brow gel that has little fibers in it. This is going to look a lot more natural than something that's almost like a shellac. So it's gonna like plaster them down. It looks almost more editorial than it does a natural brow. So that's something to keep in mind. If that's something that you guys like, then obviously if you like it, I love it. But as far as the really dark pencil being paired with this like shellac type product on top of it, this is the opposite from what I would consider a natural brow. Okay, so this is the part of the video I want you guys to keep in mind how self-righteous and knowledgeable she was in the Jill Rodriguez video. And then look at this section of the video where we are talking about someone who is actually using the little insert that Too Faced gives you on how to put together an eye makeup look, which is fine. I'm all for that. If you're going to use this little piece of paper to try to figure out what eye makeup look you should do, that is fine. But when you come off of a video acting like such a know-it-all, and then you look at this video, to me, that is very telling of who she is as a person.
Which here are the colors. It's pretty neutral. It does have some bolds with it, but nice browns and golds along with some purples and greens. The purples and greens are really good for me because I have brown eyes and then I have darker skin tones.
So funny. She says that the purples and greens are great for her because she has brown eyes. But what about you yelling at Jill for using green eyeliner? What is going on here? Like, the hypocrisy is real.
So for the look that I love to wear, it's actually called Razzle Dazzle. And it has the colors that we're going to use for the look are going to be rolling in the dough.
Okay, this part's boring. She's basically just showing people what colors she's going to use. So I do not buy big eyeshadow palettes, so I'm going to have to use a couple of different products for this section of the video. But she basically is starting out with a bone color that's matte. So for that, I'm using the CoverGirl Chocoholic palette, and I'm going to use this shade right here.
So the Rolling Dough, which is that really light color, this one is going to go over my entire lid. And this is just actually an Eco brush. I think I bought it at Target. I have a lot of different kinds of brushes that I use.
So she basically takes that. And I do not like pulling on my eye. I think that's absolutely terrible. It is not a good idea to pull on your eye like that. She really puts a lot of this on. This palette smells so good. It literally smells like chocolate.
Then I'm going to take So Bougie and I'm going to sweep it into my creases. And so what I use for sweeping is this, which is a crease brush by Sephora.
Then she takes like a bigger tapered brush and goes in with a medium color brown. So for that, I'm going to use the color next to that bone color. And you guys have to keep in mind, remember, this was someone who felt like they could tear someone apart for not knowing how to do makeup. And here she is doing this. So she goes very slow. And she really brings it all the way in like this.
From the inside, and I just move out and kind of go back and forth. I like it because it doesn't pack the color on. Some of these...
For the love of God, do not pull on your eyes all the time. That is so terrible. And not to mention, if you're pulling on your eyes, you're not going to know where the color is actually going to lay because you're not walking around like this all day with your eyes pulled. Like, stop pulling on your eyes, please.
I'm going to take the Living Lavish, which is this one, and I'm going to start in the middle and sweep it out like this.
Okay, so for her little purple color, I'm going to use the MAC Extra Dimension eyeshadow in Rich Core. It looks like this, and it's just it's a nice purple. The thing she does is she starts in the middle of her crease. So first of all, I'm not going to pull on my eyes because, again, that's not good. But she starts like right here and then starts to blend it. Instead, she should be starting on the outer corner and blending in, because by starting in the middle, most of your color is going to be deposited in the middle of the eye.
And for the purple, it's kind of going from the middle to the outer edge like this. Okay. And then some people put tape down and stuff to deal with fallout. How I handle fallout is I actually just put a little bit of concealer on it when I'm done. That same purple color under my eyes, into my lower lash line. Like this.
And then she takes it, the same purple, and focuses it on the outer, oh shit, And she focuses it on the outer V, like right here.
And that's kind of, you get a little bit of a smoky look there. So now the purple is smoked in and smudged onto both sides. And then I'm going to smudge it a little bit onto the top of my lower, of the upper. Now, some people press with their fingers. I do not put my fingers into my makeup. I'm kind of like, I'm not into that kind of stuff.
The silver color, I don't have silver. I hate silver eyeshadow. So I'm going to take the Maybelline Rooftop Bronzes and use this. I'll use this like pale champagne color because that's kind of the closest color that I have.
So I use a more defining brush that's flatter to sort of press it. And so I just take the dipping diamonds and I get a nice base like this, so you can see it like that.
And I'm just gonna say, you guys, like, there is nothing wrong with putting your fingers in your own makeup, okay? Katie is trying to act all self-righteous, like she doesn't do that and all this kind of stuff. Unless you are a working makeup artist, it is completely okay to put your fingers in your makeup.
And then I start in the
more
center.
Color payoff that
out.
way, and there's nothing wrong with it, assuming that your hands are clean. So there's the silver, you see? It's in the center of the eyelid. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. They're just like more defining. They're like kind of smaller definers, and I don't even know what the brand is.
I'm going to take another sort of pointed flat brush, and I have a lot of these smaller flat brushes. They're just like more defining. They're like kind of smaller definers, and I don't even know what the brand one is. And then I'm going to take this color, which is the Rich Girl, and it's going to just go in the corner of my eye. And I really like to use lighter colors to highlight the inner part of my eye.
Okay, so then she takes the light color and puts it on the inside of her eye like this. This I do sometimes. I do like my inner corner to be highlighted. But do you see here where the color, she told us to put that color all over the lid, but what that creates is a very unblended eyeshadow look, because I have not gone back in to blend all these colors so that they are coherent. So I'm not going to do it my own way. I will do that for the second part. So let's keep going.
Kind of right in here. I don't go all the way to the edge. I sort of start right where my eyelashes start and I move out. And I always sort of touch and I make it so it's smooth. Oops.
The eyeliner part of this video is a gong show. So what she does is she pulls on her eye this, and I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it just to show you guys.
So there's my wing. I just kind of keep filling it in. So there's my wing. I have to actually...
She said that she starts where her lashes start, which is very odd because now I have no eyeliner on the inside of my eye. So let's keep going.
Apply it where I messed up, and I'm going to apply it over here where I have some fallout. And I'm just going to tap it in like this.
I had to cut part of this video out because her son comes in the room, and I'm not going to show that in this video.
So then I just curl my eyelashes for a few seconds.
Okay, so she curls her lashes once she's already done her eyeliner, and I'm going to show you guys why that's a bad idea. So part of my eyeliner has come off because it will stick to the eyelash curler. So now I have a little bit of eyeliner missing, and it's time to do mascara. I don't have the NARS Climax mascara that she's using, but a similar brush is the BH Stellar Lash. I love this mascara so much, and she doesn't do a whole lot of mascara.
I use the NARS Climax for my eyeshadow.
She also does not put any mascara on her lower lashes. To me, it's not that this eye makeup is horrendous, but it feels very incomplete. And then what she does is she puts a little bit of lip gloss on. I'm using the Maybelline, the Lifter Gloss in number 001 Pearl. This is a dupe for the one that she used, which is the Fenty Diamond Milk.
Treat, but I might use some little lip gloss. This is a Fenty, just an ice. And there you go.
There's that. It is actually a really pretty gloss. I like this, but I like to pair it with a lip pencil because otherwise it just looks, I don't know, it washes my lips out. Okay, so this feels very incomplete. So let's get on to the part of my tutorial that I will show you guys. A couple things I will say. Please don't pull on your eyes. That's horrible. Second of all, please do not lick Q-tips and then fix your makeup. You can use water or makeup remover. Thirdly, you're allowed to put your fingers in your makeup. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't put your fingers in your makeup if you are using the makeup on other people. But most of us at home are not using this makeup on anyone but ourselves. Nothing wrong with that. Thirdly, I would say the blending of the eyeshadow is not complete in my personal opinion. Thirdly, I feel like my what is this, number 5? I feel like my complexion is very one-dimensional and not full of life, like at all. This is very boring to me. I have no highlighter, no blush, nothing. So I just feel like it's very incomplete. And I also feel like my eyebrow is a little bit overdone. So we're going to fly through the second part of this because I don't want to keep you guys here all day. I'm going to use a little bit of eyeshadow primer from Milani. This is just their normal eyeshadow primer. I love this. Can't get enough of it. Now, here's my thing. I do not like overly complicated eye makeup looks. It's not my thing. I don't have time for that. And even though this is complicated, it still, in my opinion, does not look very good. Apply the primer, and then I just sort of go with a clean brush. Make sure that it doesn't have a harsh line. I love one and done eyeshadows. I'm using the Urban Decay Midnight Blast Moon Dust eyeshadow. I use this very often. And what I do is I just pack it all over my lid and then buff it out. I just love easy eye makeup. The eyelash curler back, and I will curl my lashes before I put my eyeliner on, because if not, as you guys saw, the eyeliner can come off because you are effectively pressing something up against it. My eyeliner, I'm using the Maybelline Tattoo Studio in Smooth Walnut. This is my absolute favorite. It's just a brown, but it's a very warm tone brown. I am just over here breaking all of the rules today. And then this is huge in my personal opinion. I tightline every single day. What tightlining does is it closes that gap of bare skin on your upper waterline. So then everything is nice and uniform and it blends in with the other eyeliner and your mascara once you apply it. You know, after seeing Katie's after seeing her mascara routine, she, with one of, allegedly, in my opinion, this is only, you know, fake news, but she's probably the one that complained in my other videos about how much mascara I use. It was probably her. But you guys will see the difference between the lashes, and you'll see why I do my mascara the way that I do. Then I go in with my Wet n Wild lash fibers because these help create a ton of volume. And then I let that sit for just a second, and my beauty blender is damp. Now, this is an example of foundation that you can see the skin underneath. You guys see my little blemish here? And then I take a little bit of my YSL Touche Éclat, and I don't use a ton. I just apply it in the inner corner, and I will work off of there. And then I also try to put a little between my brows. Do you see how I started out in the inner corner and it's able to blend all the way? I don't need to take it all the way over here. What I do to set under my eyes is I use the Hourglass Diffused Light. I do not go in with a loose powder everywhere. I take just a very small amount and dust it under my eye. These powders reflect light. They don't add any coverage, and they are absolutely beautiful even on more mature skin. There is a reason that people love the Hourglass ambient lighting powders. And it's because they are perfection. Okay, so let's do another coat of mascara and then we will keep it moving. So I like to take a fluffier brush when I do my lower lash line and just kind of smoke it out just so it looks a little bit more blown out and diffused. I like using a pencil brush, but most of the time I'll use something like this. This is a MAC 217. So I will take my Bahama Mama from the Balm, and I do kind of like bronzing, so it's not a true contour. I know a lot of people like their like cool tone powders and contour powders and stuff. I just like using a matte bronzer. So that's one thing that we kind of do the same, but I would never just leave it like this. It does nothing for me. So then I do the Matte Radiance Baked Powder in Bronze 04 from Laura Mercier. And this is more of like a satin finish bronzer. And I go kind of over top. I take it a little higher and just blend those two together. What you can do is, if you feel like it's a little overdone, you can always just take a more flimsy brush and do that. Okay, and for blush, I'm using the Surratt Brilliant. Looks like this. And I just take this on the apples And then before I go in with my highlight, I'm gonna mist my face with the softening lotion spray from MAC. Try to keep it off of the other side of my face. All right, while we're waiting for that, let's do one more coat of mascara. Okay, do you guys see the difference in my lashes? I know y'all see it. Let's see. For my highlight, I'm using my Lunaster Real Glow highlighter. Little highlight. And then for my brows, I'm not going to fill in my brows. I want you guys to see what they look like with just a little brow gel. I just think that it looks much more natural, and that's what I do most of the time. And what I do with the brow gel, because it has those little hairs or fibers in it, I will back comb so that it gets on the other side of my, hair. And then I let it sit for, 15 or 20 seconds, and then I will comb them down so that they stay in place. When you let it set, it kind of has just a little bit more grippy action. I don't know how to describe it. So there is my eyebrow. Okay, so for my lip, I'm going to use the NYX Toast lip pencil. And I guess I technically do overline just a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with something that's not as frosty. So this is the Lifter Gloss in Opal. This is a CVS exclusive color. You're not going to find it at like Walmart or anything like that. I just think that the lip pencil looks a little bit better when you have a little bit, or the lip gloss looks better when you have a little bit of a lip pencil under it. That could just be personal preference, but it's all good. All right, you guys, so this is the finished look. As you can see, the side that I did, I feel like my eyes are more complete. They're more finished. The lack of eyeliner, the smudging is not as blown out and diffused on this side. I look like I have no mascara on because I only have, a coat and a half or whatever. And my skin doesn't have any life to it on this side. Whereas on this side, you can see the blush, the highlighter, it just kind of ties everything together. So I hope that this video was helpful, entertaining, funny, whatever you took from it, it's all good. I wanted to put it up not only because I wanted to collab with Amanda, but I also wanted to show you guys how different techniques can be used. And let's be honest, for Katie to be such a know-it-all, this video was very, very telling. So I hope that you guys did enjoy it. If you did, leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.